The fluid combat, enemy mechanics, and epic sceneries in Dragon's Dogma have given us some of the best gaming experiences when it comes to boss battles. And today we will try to rank them from the worst to the best with the help of a tier list. I have focused on battle mechanics, difficulty, and how enjoyable these bosses are for me personally, as well as considering the votes we received from the community. First off is the SENESCHAL. Now this may come as a surprise for many, since it's actually the final boss of the main game. It completely fails to give us the grand challenge we expect from a final boss, and instead we kill him with ease even at low level. And the thought that we would originally fight him on the moon in an epic showdown makes me wonder how much was actually cut from this battle. Next up is the first gatekeeper of Black Isle, Gazer. While this boss might be difficult if faced too early, it is ultimately just a waiting game for him to shoot up his tentacles and then smash 13 throw blasts in his face for the win. While we are on the subject of smashing, consider doing that to the subscribe button as well, as it will help me put food on the table for my son. Alright, back to the video. Third on the list is the WIGHT. They are just horrible to fight as melee vacations, and while they can summon normal enemies to aid them, they're just too boring to fight on their own. Number 4. GARM. Do they have blinding breath? Do they have unblockable launch attacks? Can they drag you when you are down for massive damage? Do I enjoy fighting these? Enough said. Number 5. Dark Bishop. In your first run, this boss is your first big challenge on Black Island. First you defeat the dragon, then you fight and knock down the bishop, only for him to get back up again and possess the dragon, who now summons a firestorm. When not prepared, this fight is a nightmare, but when you are, the cursed dragon goes down in seconds, and before you know it, the bishop is kissing the ground like a good pope. Number 6. Ogre and Elder Ogre. These cursed giants can be a real challenge when under-leveled, as they can easily one-shot a lightly armored Arisen when enraged. And the stronger female Elder Ogre still gets me sometimes to this day with their incredibly fast and hard-hitting attacks. Number 7. Chimera and GORECHIMERA. With a fusion of strong physical attacks, different elemental spells, and dangerous debilitations, the Chimera is a challenge for every vocation. What keeps him from getting higher on the list is the fact that it is possible to completely render the beast defenseless, if attacking the tail first to knock it down, then dispatch the goat for another stagger and knockdown, and finally take out the lion last. Number 8. Cyclops and GORECYCLOPS. The Cyclops is probably one of the most iconic monsters of Dragon's Dogma. It's the first boss you can climb and experience the core mechanic that makes this game unique compared to Skyrim and Dark Souls. The stronger GORECYCLOPS is a much different battle, as they can throw stones at you from afar and boast one of the highest physical resistances in the game. It is in fact so powerful that most people sadly never fight it and just run past instead. Number 9. Hydra and Archhydra. This legendary creature taken from Greek mythology is encountered very early when starting out your adventure. It's a really entertaining battle trying to defend against all the heads at the same time. Just a shame we never see the Hydra again before post-game. The Archhydra is just a lighter skinned version with stronger attacks and defenses. Number 10. GRIFFIN. The scripted fight at Blue Moon Tower is probably one of the most epic battles we experience in Dragon's Dogma. The lightning and its swooping attacks from above really give you a sense of fighting a real griffin and makes the battle one you never forget. Well done, Itsuno. The only thing that keeps it from ranking higher is the fact that it's almost impossible to find it in the wild after this encounter. Number 11. Golem. These humanoid figures made mostly from clay and stone have magical charms buried in their bodies that grant them the ability to move autonomously. Destroying their weak spots are incredibly satisfying, and the fights are chaotic and fun every time. The metal golems takes the challenge up a notch, as their weakness is no longer located on their bodies but scattered around in the environment. Number 12. Condemned GORECYCLOPS. These gigantic enemies are over 100 feet tall and are firstly encountered chained. After significant damage is done, it will break free and rampage, posing a great threat to allies on the ground and climbing teammates with its spiked armor. The sheer size of this monster makes it a very challenging battle that most players will come back to for the great rewards. Number 13. Evil Eye. They are large and powerful spellcasters, formed from a fossilized dragon's eye. The eye casts powerful dark magic and can also create a debilitating beam. Its tentacles cast fire, ice and lighting-based projectile spells. And it's basically a more fun and interactive geyser fight. Number 14. COCKATRICE, the nightmarish counterpart to the majestic GRIFFIN. With petrifying breath and poisonous claws, it can slowly bring down even the sturdiest of teams unfortunate enough to face it. Number 15. Living Armor. This huge animated suit of armor is probably one of the coolest looking enemies in Dark Arisen, and they utilized advanced sword techniques from both the fighter and mystic knight vocations. Just make sure you have at least one magic based attack in your arsenal, since their ghostly core are completely immune to all physical attacks. Number 16. Death. Once an Arisen, this shadowy creature shares many of the same features as the Grim Reaper in common cultural depictions. What it lacks in interesting battle mechanics, it makes up for with the horror of being followed by death itself and its ability to send your pawns back to the rift with a single strike of his legendary scythe. Number 17. Dragon. This immensely powerful undead dragon is essentially an optional endgame boss. Considering its huge amount of health, individual Arisen and their parties will not be able to inflict substantial damage in a single round. Instead, the battle continues across the worlds of all Arisen, with them collectively contributing to the defeat of the creature. And to all the early veterans out there waiting for grace, happy hunting. Number 18. Dragonkin. As the antagonists of Dragon's Dogma, they are made from fallen Arisen, and defeating dragons can allow weapons and equipment to be dragon forged. It's very obvious that they put a lot of effort into making these mythical beasts amazing to fight, and the fire, frost and thunder variants you fight are actually previous Arisen from the red, blue and yellow vocations. Number 19. Cursed Dragon. These undead dragons bear a striking visual similarity to the near-death Dragon. However, they are more engaging to fight, much easier to farm and have the highest chance of dragon forging equipment out of all the lesser dragonkin, making CDs an all-time favorite for veteran Arisen looking to upgrade their gear. Before we finish with the S-tier bosses, I have to give honorable mentions to Bats, Leapworms and the Midnight Helix Gargoyle for being a major pain in the ass for the community since 2013. Now, the two bosses fighting for the number 1 spot is of course DAIMON and GRIGORI. They are, in their own way, incredibly well made bosses that serve as a great last challenge for the main game and the Dark Arisen expansion. I really enjoyed the intense and difficult challenge DAIMON was the first time I finished all of his 4 phases. The combat is fast-paced and his frequently cast spells adds another layer to the battle, making good spacing much more important and rewarding. GRIGORI, on the other hand, is a less intense, more cinematic and cataclysmic experience. Not only does the whole fight take you through many different sceneries and events, but GRIGORI's dialogue throughout the battle adds a true sense of understanding this epic dragon you have journeyed so far to face, making the ultimate death of the dragon a bittersweet emotional rollercoaster no other game have managed to convey in this manner. And for that I have to give the title as the best Dragon's Dogma boss to GRIGORI. And a special mention goes to David Lodge for bringing his soul to life with his amazing voice acting. If you are still here, then I thank you for watching, and if you have time, let me know what bosses you personally enjoyed the most in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you next time.